Alrighty, so this video is going to be a little bit all over the place because I was going to do an update at the end of the last episode of Fallout 4, and then I recorded it, and it was about 15 minutes long, and so I decided to make a separate update video. So now I'm recording the intro to that video, which you are about to see in a moment. I have been experiencing some issues, let's say, in the background over the last actually a few months, but specifically it's beginning to become a bit more intense over the last couple of weeks. It's tied in with the development of the channel, but it's also, there's a bit of a backstory as to why it's become so much of a problem. It's something I've been dealing with my whole life, and I feel like it's pretty important that I kind of introduce it to you as the viewers and subscribers to the channel, so that you can be aware that this is most likely going to be something that, or it is going to be something that I have to navigate basically throughout the entire lifetime of the channel, because it's part of me. You know, it's part of my history, it's part of my nature, it's part of my makeup, and it's going to become kind of part of the gameplay. Now, I'm going to try to keep it out of the game series as much as I can, but it's just inevitable that at some point it's going to come up. So I feel like now is a good time to introduce this reality to the channel, so that you can become aware that it's a thing. And yeah, it's just going to make the kind of ongoing development of this channel a lot easier if we're all aware that this is something we need to be aware of. So with that said, here is me now going into what I said previously. Did we really have all that meat on us? I guess so. Pale flesh stew, eh? Blood pack and pale flesh. Massive health regeneration for 2 minutes.
There we go.
I guess that's something. So, I was diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder when I was 19, and a sleep disorder, severe sleep disorder, which I've had since I was a child. And the reason I bring that up is because I've got a predisposition to suffer from anxiety, and situations that generate anxiety in people. Now, for the majority of the time, I'm fine. These days I'm 35 now, so I've learned how to navigate this quite effectively in my life, and I spent a lot of time going into myself and going into a kind of spiritual path in order to learn about what was going on with me. I mean, anxiety's really nothing, the sort of stuff that I was experiencing as a kid. I don't really need to go into that too much here, but I was fortunate enough to go down the road of spirituality as opposed to medicine, in terms of helping myself come to terms with what I was experiencing and learning to navigate it in life. Now, because I have this predisposition to suffer quite intensely because of issues of anxiety, and I think very differently about life. Just trying to think about what else do I need to say. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of background as to why I'm experiencing what I am, so that you're informed. I feel like, I don't really owe it to you, but I want to share so that you know what's going on. And so hang on, I need a second just to sort of get this clear before I express it. So because of the approach that I took to deal with my anxiety, I learned about meditation and the nature of the mind and this type of thing, and the effect that... Sorry, my little boy needed some attention. Now, because of what I did to learn how to deal with my mental health concerns, in a funny way, it helped. All of the years of meditation and insight helped, but one of the things you have to do when you're somebody like me is you have to make a great deal of allowances for what you are. There's no hiding from it. There's no running from it. There's no medication to take to deal with it. And so, you have to know yourself so well that you can stand by your own needs, the needs of your body, and how your body might operate. Your body and brain might operate in a different way to most, or to a lot of other people. And so you need to make allowances for that. Now, what it's done is it's made me made my awareness hyper acute, and my sensitivity to certain environments and certain data, certain types of information, certain forms of energy, you could say, in the world. It's made me extremely susceptible to being, like a heightened senses, heightened awareness of certain things. And so I have to navigate life in a very specific kind of way in order to be able to cope with and deal with what life presents. It's just the way I am, you could say. All right. Now, over the last 4 months, obviously, I've been dedicated to this channel and loving it. And, I feel like I've finally found a form of work, or, a way of combining a very old hobby of mine, or not even just a hobby, but a passion and a deep love, as I've explained. Gaming in my life, along with a couple of other things, has been one of the common threads in my life through, no matter where I was, no matter what I was doing. The interest and the passion for gaming has always been there. So if I can turn it into a job, it's ideal. It's an ideal situation, really. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 months. Now, what was happening throughout this last 4 months, very subtly, which I'm recently, kind of the last couple of weeks, starting to really see the effect of, is what this has done to my body. And to cut a long story short, it's had a very, very, not damaging, but it's been a very, very intense experience in terms of, like I say, given my prior history. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I don't just want to say that this situation is causing me anxiety. Playing these games is causing me stress, because it is. But to give you that context, a little bit of background to help you understand why it's having such an effect. Now, what that means is I've got to navigate a little bit more selectively the types of games that I'm playing and balance out the intense kind of life or death gameplay, which is very often what I put myself in with this semi-permadeath thing scenario. And if you look back over the channel, I was doing 3 to 4 to 5 hours a day in that situation where, as I mentioned at the start of this video, given how your brain works and your imagination, if you go and lie down on your bed and close your eyes and imagine being in a boxing ring with Mike Tyson, your body will start to move and twitch, and your brain will start to release certain chemicals in your body to increase your adrenaline and to help you survive in that ring with Mike Tyson. But you're in bed. You're not even there. This is how PTSD or other types of PTSD is a little bit different. It's quite an intense trauma has created that anchor in your psychology, but it's still, your brain will take you back to these environments or keep you in these environments, which continuously takes your body back there because your imagination or part of your brain is stuck in that environment. Now, that is a bit different to what I'm saying here, but like I said, the last 4 months I've been living in a zombie apocalypse, constantly under threat from these monsters and creatures and dangers and anomalies like Stalker. And I mean, you might not realize it, but somebody like me who's very aware of how my body is operating and how my brain is functioning, given my history, I can see that this is what's occurring. And modern medicine has a term called hyperstimulation, whereby your body, you've been subject to stress, anxiety, stressful situations for extended periods of time, and your body and brain has not been able to get out of it for a sufficient enough time to stop the fight or flight kind of stress response. They call it hyperstimulation, whereby you start to get, you'll really start to feel the effects of it in your body, various pains and sensations of burning and things like this occurring in your body. It's particularly uncomfortable. Also combined with sitting in the same posture for extended periods of time and repeated micro muscle movements of the body without giving the body enough time to rest. So, yeah, this is a little bit of a revelation that I've I've been looking at for the last couple of weeks, and specifically over the last couple of days, it's really hit home, that kind of solidified that this is what has been occurring for me, and I've been seeing it taking place, kind of weighing up exactly what it is, wondering how to approach it and how to deal with it. And so ultimately, don't be surprised if I kind of slow down on the channel a little bit and lighten the load with regards to like games like this, where the stress levels are particularly high because the consequence of death is particularly high. I'm still going to continue. That's the problem, is, you know, I'm doing this to myself because I enjoy it. That's the thing, isn't it? It's this kind of self-destructive pleasure quality of my psychology. And so, you know, I don't really have a problem with it at the end of the day. It is what it is. It's something that I enjoy, but I've got to be aware of the effect that I'm having on my body when I do this type of thing. And so I will lighten the load a little bit, release some of the kind of strict rules and regulations around it, around the gameplay, so that I can relax more, so that it's not so intense. And also, I'm going to have to start making allowances for more relaxed games on the channel, where there's essentially no violence, no aggression in the system of the body and the brain while within the gameplay. Now that means there's a lot more room for story games, for narrative driven games, for kind of games where the consequences of death are either non-existent or very, very limited. And so, you know, your body doesn't go into a fight or flight moment, especially in these first person games. This is prime real estate for immersive experience. You know, your brain, literally, mine does, it goes into the experience, which is why my body reacts so violently to jump scares and things like that, which, like I say, it's really just not good for you at the end of the day. But it's okay in moderation, it's okay within balance. So yeah, so really that's the update. Now, how it's going to impact us in the short term is, I don't think I'm going to be doing 4 videos every day. Oh, quickly. The cure for this condition, this hyperstimulation, is to remove yourself from all of these sources of stress, to limit your involvement in any kind of stressful situation, whether that might be, for example, if the source of stress is a video game, or if it's something that's going on at home, or if it's something that's happening at work that's causing you all this anxiety, then you have to, if you can, remove yourself from that situation completely, and then the body winds down and the brain stops the stress response, and it heals. You know, the body heals, it cures itself. But of course, I'm not doing that. I'm not allowing myself to do that. I'm not removing myself from the situation. It can take months as well, given it really just depends on how effective you are at minimizing the stress and how much damage you've done, how long you've been in that stress response, how long does it take to wind down. So, but I'm not going to do that. That's the thing. I know that with the right kind of attention, I have strong enough insight and a strong enough capability with regards to controlling my mind and my emotion, and know that I can do it. I can heal myself in a balanced format. I don't have to fully detach. I just have to make a few changes and give myself more room to breathe and more room to release and to relax and let go. Now, okay, just a second. There was one more point that I wanted to make just then, but it's gone. So the channel's been doing so well, and you know, I'm so grateful for everybody's involvement and support. You guys are incredibly positive, and the last thing I'm going to do now is disappear for a month and go into a kind of isolated retreat, which I could do. I'd be able to do it, but then I would have to come back from that anyway and implement the same new changes, meaning, you know, more of a balanced gameplay. That's all it really comes down to. Maybe not so much intense focus on doing so much every day, like 4 videos or whatever, but if it's chilled gameplay, it's not a problem. If there's a little bit, maybe a little bit of stress, just a touch, just a tiny bit, and the rest is I can sit back and relax. I don't have to worry about my character. We can enjoy a story together or whatever. There's a million games to play along those lines, and I would have to do that anyway if I came back after a month. So I'm just going to start now. So 2 to 3 videos a day, depending on how the gameplay goes. If it's particularly chilled, maybe a few more. If it's a bit intense, then just 2 for this week. And next week we have Vampire anyway, which is more of a narrative. I can relax more in that. Sit back with a controller type thing. Just a second. All right, so now that you've heard the main gist of what it is, the situation, I think I covered everything. And so I can add in a little bit more after this if needed. But in the meantime, yeah, that's about it. It's not going to change much other than a kind of reduction of stress. All right, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing for everyone all around. And don't get me wrong, I'm loving this. It's an amazing development in my life, having this channel. I'm really loving creating these videos. You guys have been amazing around it all. And it's not going to stop. It's just going to take on a much more sustainable, long-lasting, peaceful, calmer life span side thing. Yes, anyway, that's what's going to happen. So thank you for watching this video if you have, and please do come and join me in the stress-inducing, horrifying, terrifying Zombieland Conquest for the week. Next week we have Vampire. After that we have Mist Survival, I think, and then Bioshock. And I think I mentioned this in the Fallout that I'm taking 2 weeks off in December. I've had a holiday booked for a little while. I'm going to visit my family, and I'm taking my 2 beautiful young monkeys on a kind of family holiday, me and them too. So 2 weeks in December, from around about the 8th or the 7th of December to somewhere around about the 21st or the 22nd, and I'll be back in time for Christmas. So we've got a good length of kind of, committed time to the channel. I don't know what we're going to play in the first week of December, but I'll come up with something, probably something quite chilled. And then I'll take a couple of weeks off, and then I'll be back ready for Christmas and the New Year. So I think that's everything I needed to say for this little update. It was kind of unplanned. I wasn't sure if I was going to do an update video, and then I tried to include it in the Fallout 4 video, but it just needed its own kind of attention because it was so long. So thank you for checking out the video. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all of the connections that are happening around the channel. And I do enjoy talking to you guys and reading your comments and getting your input and your feedback. So thank you. See you soon. Bye for now.